And here is our pilgrimage. Here are our pilgrims. It's Dulles International Airport. And before we know it, we're in Warsaw, Poland. And the first stop is the convent that Sister Faustina entered as a young girl. This is another young sister of the same order telling us. And then we had Mass, and then off to the gift shop, where our pilgrims did what they did a lot of during the pilgrimage. They bought gifts. And then the first full day to Chopin's birthplace, the great Polish pianist. Had a chance to meet some Polish kids on a field trip. Met them even in the bathroom. And after that, off to the main house where we posed for a group shot in the famous composer's living room. Here are our bus leaders. And then we're ready to go to the monastery of St. Maximilian Kolbe. This is the monastery where he trained and where he left for Japan and then came back. Here's Pauline, our youngest pilgrim, and this is the church dedicated to Maximilian Kolbe. We then had a wonderful tour by one of the nuns who explained Maximilian Kolbe's life. There were beautiful pictures and souvenirs of his life, and she explained very thoroughly his very apostolic life, and then finally what he did at Auschwitz. Once again off to the gift shop, and this is a picture of Father Lynch and Andrew, our tour guide, a final shot of the church, and then our first visit to a truly Polish restaurant. And here are our pilgrims ready to eat Gumki Polish pizza. It was very, very good. I think we all enjoyed it. Here's a picture of the head of Glory Tours. He's having some soup, and the bowl is a loaf of bread. He's ready to go. Robert. Off to Czestochowa, to Our Lady of Czestochowa. This is the picture of the Black Madonna, which has been the Madonna of the nation of Poland. This is the main church, but the icon itself is in a little chapel. We had Mass here, our pilgrimage. It was a wonderful experience. And then an American seminarian from Chicago gave us more details on the shrine. This is a statue of our Holy Father that was placed there after his huge Mass in 1980 before 1 million people. Then off to the new church of the Divine Mercy, just 2 or 3 years old. This is the old church where Sister Faustina is buried. We went into the courtyard and had a wonderful tour by one of the sisters of the Divine Mercy who helped us to understand the theology and the spirituality behind the devotion to the Divine Mercy. Here are the relics of Sister Faustina in the brand new church. And that church is very, very large. It's very beautiful. And above the main tabernacle is the picture of the Divine Mercy. And then in another building off to the side, the Blessed Sacrament Chapel. We leave the wonderful church of the Divine Mercy, and as we go, we pass by another religious article store, and then finally to the bus. We're guided by Les, who is our guide to make sure we always get to the right bus. And this is Helen and her mother who made the pilgrimage. And then we're off to another Polish restaurant. And here are some of our pilgrims having a wonderful Polish meal. And now down to the salt mines. This is a church built way below ground in the salt mines. We're back up on surface, and the next day we go to Krakow, the middle of Krakow, first of all to the Cathedral Church. This is a very beautiful ancient church, and as you remember, our present Holy Father was the Archbishop of Krakow, so this was his Cathedral Church. This is the Chancery building, And there were many, many pilgrims there that day, mostly native Polish people, some school children. And this is the rectory, the priest's residence. And this is Andrew, our tour guide, directing us around Krakow. This is a Jesuit church, which is special because of the wonderful statues, the many wonderful statues it has out in front. And then from there we went to a very old Franciscan church, which is equally very, very beautiful. And here it is. Then off to the public square of the city of Krakow, filled with music and culture and gift shops. Very wonderful experience. And here is Pauline, our youngest pilgrim, with her father Junie. We stopped for lunch, wonderful lunch, and then back again. This is St. Mary's Church. The pigeons are all over the place, and are they well-fed pigeons? They've got a lot of friends in this town square of Krakow. Pauline, once again, our youngest pilgrim, and she loves those pigeons. Once again, we prepare to leave the town square, and here we are at Auschwitz. And the guide begins to tell us all the things that happened here. Auschwitz is one of two prison camps right outside of Krakow. The second one, which is by far much larger, is Birkenau. Auschwitz was much smaller and looked very nice by prison camp standards, 2-story brick houses, but terrible, terrible things. Here's a map of where all the people came to this, and this is the freight cars that brought them. And most of those people thought they were on their way to someplace else. And the Germans literally took everything before they took their lives. Here are their glasses and their shoes and their suitcases. Many of them thought they were going to need them for something else, but unfortunately they didn't. This is the place where Blessed St. Maximilian Kolbe died, along with St. Edith Stein. Here's how they executed some by pistol shots to the head, and this is the place today. This is the famous cross of the Carmelites that was taken out of the camp. This is the cell where Maximilian Kolbe was executed. And these are some more shots of the camp itself. The electric fences where people were hung, and then finally the crematorium where the bodies were brought to be cremated. After about a 3-mile trip, we come to Birkenau, which was 10 times larger than Auschwitz. And Birkenau was the place where over 100,000 prisoners were housed. This is the place where the Nazis built the gas chambers made as showers. After World War II, the Polish government tore down most of the barracks. These are some of the ones that remain. But Birkenau is by far the larger prison camp. This is the birthplace of the Holy Father in Wadowice, and this is his parish church where he was baptized, where he served as an altar boy. And our pilgrims all gathered together for a group photo in front of the church of the Holy Father. And this is a beautiful Franciscan monastery in the mountains with over 40 chapels. They have a living Stations of the Cross and many beautiful chapels. We had the opportunity to have Mass in one of them, but there are many beautiful, gorgeous chapels. These are some children relaxing outside. And now we're in the Czech Republic. This is our first restaurant in the Czech Republic. They're all smiling now. But they didn't realize that the owner of this restaurant was charging us twice as much as the going rate. We were ripped off in our first restaurant. Here is the city of Prague. This is the Church of the Infant of Prague. This is the priest who gave us a very wonderful tour. And this is the side altar with the original statue of Our Lady of Prague. And these are some of the churches in the city. Prague is built on mountains, and here we are at the top of one. We're ready to start the trip down through the city. Prague is a very old city, so we were not permitted to have the bus with us. These are some of the old government buildings, and some of them are just gorgeous. As usual, the guard standing watch. Prague traditionally was a very Catholic city, but after 40 years of communism, the faith has weakened extensively in the Czech Republic. They have not maintained the faith the way that the Polish did. And yet, many reminders of the Catholic faith are all over the city. It has many beautiful cathedrals, churches, basilicas, among them St. Vitus, which is by far the most famous one. We began our walk. It was a 3-mile walk down to the heart of the city from here. Great exercise. Our tour guide was a Catholic. Unfortunately, she was a Catholic who never received any instructions. This is one of the churches, many churches in Prague. The government owns all the churches, and the government rents the church to the Catholic Church. Here's our tour guide, who was Catholic but didn't really know what it was all about. Once again, some of the buildings, and now we're in the middle of Prague on our way to walking over the medieval Charles Bridge. And then we finally had the opportunity of being present at the Czech Army Band concert, which was played before one of the beautiful churches in the town square. This is an ancient clock with some very beautiful statues. We also had the privilege of being present at a memorial service for the World War II deceased, and the Czech army now is preparing to lay the appropriate wreaths. We prepare to leave, and Prague is a truly beautiful building. Here's a cash cow, one of the statues, and the sun goes down as we leave this beautiful city. And here we are now at the Schönborn Castle in Vienna in Austria. And this is a truly remarkable castle. We were not permitted to take pictures inside, but this was the castle of Franz Joseph from here. Before we had supper at our hotel in Vienna, we said Mass at the Polish Church of Vienna. The next morning we got up to a beautiful day and off to visit some of the great castles of Vienna. This is the Prince Eugene Belvedere Palace with gorgeous lawns and wonderful statuary. We had also our own guide to explain the beautiful areas of Vienna. And Vienna is truly a beautiful city. It's a biker's city, many, many bicycles. Here's a restoration man taking care of one of the many statues on the property. This is St. Augustine's Church, where the nobility of Vienna were married. It's not as the biggest church, but it was important because of historical significance. Again, Helen and her mother, Pauline, our youngest pilgrim, and some more government buildings of Vienna. In downtown Vienna, we had the opportunity of seeing some of these beautiful artworks and experiencing some of the old world traditions, one of which is the horse carriage, which takes tourists through the downtown of Vienna. Another government building, and off to another town square. Many beautiful churches in Vienna, which is Catholic. This is a monument to the Blessed Trinity in thanksgiving for being spared from the plague. And so it's three-sided in honor of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And these are some young men who pose as statues, moving statues in front of St. Stephen's Cathedral. This is the famous cathedral in Vienna, St. Stephen's. One of the side chapels. And once again, one of those living statues that was all too happy to pose with tourists. And we go on now to the Church of Our Blessed Mother. This is the church where St. Clement Mary Hofbauer is buried. And this is the Redemptorist rector, Father Hans Herfer. And he showed us the church. And this is where the bones of St. Clement Marie Hofbauer are kept. And I had the opportunity of celebrating Mass on this altar. This is St. Clement Marie Hofbauer's tomb. And now we're taking a little boat ride around Vienna. And then finally, some Wiener Schnitzel and some beer. This is Robert, once again the head of Glory Tours, who was with us for the complete trip.